Of the few things that are certain about doing business in India, the uncertainty that surrounds policy matters is one of them. The other is overcoming the lethargy of bureaucracy at various levels. But in spite of all of this, multinational corporations in almost all sectors of the economy want to do business here. From automobiles to pharma, from telecom to technology, from infrastructure to engineering, from FMCG to financial services. Global companies are not just selling to India, but also selling from India. The size of the Indian market and access to both a high-quality and a low-cost workforce have been advantages for India. But over the last few years, there's been a growing discontent on doing business in the world's largest democracy. MNCs acknowledge it's not easy being here, but neither is staying away.
You have a well-educated population, the cultural diversity, you have a sound judicial system, you have an innovation culture, you have the world's largest free market.
It's a country within a country. The diversity and the richness that it offers really brings out, a business person's potential.
But when the initial infatuation with India is over and reality sets in, what do multinational corporations need to do to succeed in India? Does India force these global giants to reassess the idea of value? Does it push companies to evolve a local model?
In this market, in this game, you are one innovation away, or you are as good as your last innovation. As long as it's innovative, it will always win the hearts, the minds and the wallets of the consumer.
The idea is to never say die, and is to keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. So what that eventually means is that we've been able to gain market share over decades.
Will surviving the rough and tumble of the Indian market, building one's resilience and winning in India help a corporation thrive in other emerging markets?
It's imperative that if an MNC or an Indian company wants to work in this environment, it has to de facto develop the resilience to work within the chaos.
So over the next couple of weeks, Ravi Venkatesan and I travel through the country, talk to country managers across some of the world's biggest corporations that are doing business in India to understand what it takes to conquer the chaos. Ravi Venkatesan knows what it takes to do business in India. Under his watch at Microsoft, India became the software giant's second largest geography and one of its fastest growing markets globally. Stellar performance on the face of it, but then Ravi stepped back and took a closer look. Only 1.5% of Microsoft's global revenues come from India. By 2022, if Microsoft grows at a conservative 7% and its India business at 20%, India will still contribute just 5% of the company's revenues. It made Ravi ask, does India matter to MNCs? Should it matter? What can Microsoft and other multinationals like it gain from cracking the India code? These are some of the questions Venkatesan is looking to answer with his book, Conquering the Chaos.
If you look around the economies of the world, where else is there growth? It's fundamentally all the growth today is happening in emerging markets. And while it's quite depressing to see a 5% GDP growth, many countries would kill to have 5% growth. So even at 5%, there are substantial opportunities for many companies. And so that's one reason. I think the bigger reason is actually more interesting. India is seen as a very chaotic and difficult place to do business. Highly corrupt, bad government, bureaucracy and red tape, poor infrastructure, everything possible. But one of the interesting things is to look at what do other emerging markets look like.
So here's what Ravi is talking about. India ranks number 93 on the Global Corruption Index compiled by Transparency International. But that means we're right in the middle of the pack, right there with China, Brazil, Indonesia, Nigeria. All of these countries find themselves grappling with the cancer of corruption. Now, if you look at the Ease of Doing Business report published by the World Bank, India is at number 132. But guess who's around us? The same countries, but China does better, coming in at number 90. Nigeria, Indonesia, Brazil, Philippines, a lot of the other emerging markets are in the same situation as us.
if you're a multinational company, you need to learn how to deal with these difficult environments and markets, learn to thrive on chaos, prosper from chaos, and not just try and run away and find an easier haven. So, and India at least has the advantage of having a huge potential market. Some of these countries don't have either the market or the talent pool. So the thesis that I have is, hey, come to chaotic India, learn to be successful here, and then you'll find it pretty easy going in most other emerging markets. They'll be very familiar.
But this is easier said than done. Some MNCs like Unilever, Nestle, Cummins, McDonald's, JCB and Volvo seem to have hit the ground running. Others like Caterpillar, Renault and Toyota haven't had a smooth ride, while still others like Mercedes and Nokia have been dislodged from their leadership position and are now strategizing to make up lost ground. In most cases, the wall has been hit at a point that Venkatesan describes as the midway trap.
Most companies that come to India start out by simply bringing their global products, global prices and practices and management, and they start serving this premium segment at the top. What happens is, after a few years, the top of the pyramid, the affluent segment, gets saturated. Everybody is also going into the same segment, so competition becomes more intense, and growth rapidly slows down. What they start seeing is, hey, if the industry is growing 10%, with great difficulty, they also grow just 10% or maybe 11%. And that's when disillusionment sets in. So, for instance, the best example is Apple. Apple CEO Tim Cook says, we like India, but the distribution system in India is too inefficient. There isn't modern retail. So, for the moment, we're going to focus elsewhere. Guess what? Samsung says, here and now, and they run away with the smartphone market in India. So while you're saying, I'm going to go somewhere else and come back, some of your competitors are not waiting. So this midway trap is when growth slows down, companies give up on India, and they get caught in this 1% club. So India continues to remain 1% of their global business, and they squander the opportunity.
The stories of two construction equipment manufacturers, JCB and Caterpillar, are illustrative of how some companies have capitalized on the opportunities India throws up, while others have faltered. JCB has had a presence in the Indian marketplace since the early 1980s, first with its joint venture partner Escorts and then subsequently on its own. And through its India journey, it's retained market leadership with competition from the likes of global giant Caterpillar, which is a distant threat. Today, the backhoe loader is generically known as the JCB, irrespective of the manufacturer, a sort of brand recognition that will make any manager proud. And Bipin Sondhi, who's been heading JCB India since 2005, definitely is. To his mind, the two biggest contributors to avoiding the midway trap has been a clear commitment from the headquarters that India is an important market and creating a product that is made in India for India.
This product is a person's rosy roti. If this product doesn't function, the day's wages are lost, and therefore it's extremely important. So from the time that we developed this, we've constantly fine-tuned it. And now if you look at this product, products in India work in arduous conditions, perhaps more in other parts of the world. They work with fuel efficiency at the top of the mind of an owner or an operator, and we give at least 20% better fuel efficiency, which is almost 2.5 lakh rupees a year advantage at current diesel prices. And if you notice the cabin is 20% larger than a normal cabin. So these designs have been incorporated essentially to ensure that the Indian consumer is greatly benefited.
And the headquarters' commitment to the Indian arm is evident. In 2008, when the slowdown hit, JCB actually doubled the capacity at this plant in Vallabhgarh, investing over 300 crore rupees. A bold step, but has it paid off?
We were convinced that the upturn would also come. So we not only invested, We didn't invest incrementally. We actually doubled the capacity of this plant from 50 machines a day to 100 machines a day. We're making it the world's largest plant. So yes, it indeed was bold, but the market came back fortunately, and we had the capacity to address the requirements of the market. In fact, during the current slowdown, which seems a little longer than the one we had in 2008, 2009, we've actually setting up 2 new plants in Jaipur.
And as they say, fortune does favor the brave. In 2005, JCB India's contribution to global sales was at 17%. Today, it stands at 33%. And JCB's focus and efforts over the years to build a strong dealership network has been the key. JCB has almost 60 dealerships and 430 service centers in India with 5,500 trained personnel. In comparison, Caterpillar has just 2 dealers with 112 service points and Komatsu 25 dealers with 54 service points. And with India emerging as a significant market for the company, almost 70% of all operating decisions are made locally. Vipin Sondhi has been made a part of the Global Group Executive Council and reports directly to the Global CEO. This direct line of reporting has also meant a significant exchange of ideas on frugal engineering globally. Not only has JCB given the midway trap a miss, it's proactively worked to avoid it. Other MNCs haven't had similar luck. Those stories on the other side of conquering the chaos.